Welcome to another episode of Caps and Cards. I'm your host, Buddy J18, and I am joined today by
DJ North Shore Fitteds here, and we're gonna show off some of the holiday stuff. I sent John a box. He sent me a box. We were gonna open them live on camera. It just didn't work out our schedules. And we're gonna talk a little bit about Topperz. I want to show off my Yager jersey, and we'll just hang out and have fun, shit like we always do.
I'm not saying it for the credit. I worked so another officer could have Christmas off. I don't have kids yet, so hopefully that person enjoyed their holiday a little bit more than I did. So
the double time probably helped too.
A little bit
in that decision there. So I'll let you start off showing because you have more than me. A couple guys that sent you stuff, right?
Yeah. I grabbed so here's the pile I grabbed, and I'm going to start off with what you sent me. First, the not funny one with Zach Moss. Nice piece of the jersey number there. That looks like it's part of the 2. And then autograph, pretty clean, nice and centered.
Unless it says game worn, that's not actually part of the 2. It's an 88. Did you know that?
Yeah.
They make all the players. They make all the players wear 88 because they can get the most amount of patches out of the numbers. So if it's player worn jersey.
Well, my Gronk is a game used jersey.
Yeah.
That one I have. And then the one that's getting a lot of steam on Reddit right now is the Nate Peterman auto.
Pink Prism, Panini.
It's kind of a cool card.
That would be the big money card if he had John Gruden's draft review of him panned out. But we all know John Gruden doesn't make good decisions, especially in the email department.
Well, it didn't turn out this week for you.
It's okay. We're still in control of our own destiny. We don't need someone to lose. We're still probably going to make playoffs.
Yeah, I think as of right now, we could both still be in the playoffs. You knock the Dolphins out, one of us gets the wild card, and then whatever.
Well, there's multiple wild cards, so
yeah,
it'd be crazy if all 3 of us somehow make the playoffs.
Even if the Dolphins win today, I don't see them getting into the playoffs.
If they beat us in Miami, they could. And if we lose to the Jags somehow,
that's gonna be like having a round 1 bye. So, some team is gonna play them a little too lightly, and they're gonna sneak past like a Colts or somebody. And
it's very rare you beat Belichick twice in the same season,
unless you're the Giants.
Hey, to be fair, that year we lost the Super Bowl to them, we beat them in the regular season.
Okay.
Not matters much to get the perfect season. Keep the perfect season.
So Dustin DGB31 sent me a Devin Williams autograph out of 50. This is 49 out of 50. A Mark Mathias Topps Chrome. He keeps finding these in like bargain bins. I hope that kid comes back and has like a really strong showing. This is a Panini Select Giannis card. I don't know much about these, but you can't really see all the colors in the card.
That's in blue, right?
Yeah, it's got like a whole bunch of specs in it. This Haters out of 199. He got into the ripping the Chrome Blaster boxes, so he knows a lot more about like the numbers. This Yelich Captains was out of 250. I know this Yelich was out of this gold Chrome was out of 50. Now this card, I bet you'll be able to figure out what variant it is.
Jackie Robinson. There's a 42.
There's an entire set of the card where they're all wearing 42. Just a little fun fact there. Marcus Simeon out of 199. That's a teal border, sky blue. And he also included some stuff for you in there, so I will have to.
Yeah, I need to send you my India. So.
A Lord Gurriel Jr. negative.
Nice.
Woodruff with like the checkers on it. You can see that. And then Hader with the smoke and mirrors. Quite a bit there to digest.
I'll show the ones you sent. Some of the ones you sent me. Bobby Dahlbeck, Bowman Auto. It seems like it's a
platinum.
A platinum. I was wondering if it was like a holiday card. Couldn't tell. World Series MVP, Jorge Soler. Bowman first, Chrome, Alex Verdugo. Cool fact about Alex Verdugo, he's trying to become a two-way player next year. He wants to be a bullpen arm for the Sox. And I hope it does happen just because I'd love to see Alex Cora go. Bring my right fielder in.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Ian Anderson. This is like the high school card that you got from China with that sick auto. It's really clean.
I think that one's actually cleaner than the Topps Fire.
And Mountcastle, Bowman rookie card.
Brian Hayes is on the back of that, if you didn't notice.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah, I saw him. And Ian Anderson, numbered, blue parallel, Bowman Chrome. And this was one my buddy picked me up. Alan Lazard, red prism rookie card. He's the one that caught Rogers' franchise passing touchdown.
443.
Hmm?
He caught number 443.
Cool little fact, that ball's going to Brett Favre's son. Pretty cool. And then I want to show off. I love Alan Ginter. I finally got this one. It's David Wright with the auto on it.
Oh, yeah.
Things looking up for the Mets with them signing Scherzer. Hopefully they're good. But they'll find a way to screw it up. The Mets always do.
Bing bong.
If you're a Mets fan, you're used to disappointment. I want to talk a little bit about Topperz. The Bison's hats today. They dropped 4 Bison's hats today. They did the restock on this boy. This guy right here, the green and red.
Mm-hmm.
They did an all brown with a red bottom. They did a tan with an icy, and they did a all red with a green bottom. That's still sitting on their website as of shooting of this video.
Yeah. It's, well, in my opinion, it's not worn on the field, so I don't see it as really a necessary addition, but they call it the Prime Edition. And I do like the Buster logo, the new Buster logo that they have displayed on this new hat. It just doesn't scream, I need it at me.
Yeah,
but, you know, if shipping wasn't $40, I would definitely entertain it.
I hit for me and John on the brown and red bottom one. The website crashed, for those of you who didn't know who tried for it. The website crashed completely at 11:05. I was on 11:02, and I was able to snag those two. I will say this: the online retailers are getting better about having more stock. Even Hat Club with the cyber punks was a lot better. The last few drops for Hat Club, if you wanted to grab something.
I've got 2 of them right here.
Although I think the crown is probably going to be going to Topperz right now for the fitted game over Hat Club, in my opinion.
And why would you say that?
He's always dropping stuff. He doesn't like Hat Club doesn't drop every single day, and they don't drop a lot of NFL stuff. Topperz drops NFL stuff once a week. Drops NBA stuff once a week, and a bunch of MLB and MLB on Mondays, and a bunch of MLB in between. And the cool thing about them is they restock. So if you don't hit on something, like I remember people crying about this one. it was a random shock drop 30 minutes after the other one. So if you didn't get anything from the first Stampede, you might have gotten this one if you were subscribed to their email list.
I
What's
think the Hat Club is becoming more diverse. You know, as you know, someone who watches most of the websites, and especially there's in New York, what's the site that has they use the models and stuff? They do the monthly restock.
Sports World or Hat Heaven?
It's Hat Heaven, yeah. So in my opinion, versus Hat Heaven, Hat Club is definitely still winning in USA terms. Like when they do their restocks though, Hat Heaven has a way bigger selection, but they are charging more for like basic gray, black, and they do a lot more gray and green bottoms though. So they do have some good points about them. Being like Hat Heaven, they do a lot more minor league stuff, and I've been a little partial to Hat Heaven's minor league action instead of Topperz because I just can't get my hands on anything. So I did want to throw that third company into the mix because you don't really see a lot of people jumping at these other logos. Somebody asked me the other day, I think it was a Sports World drop. No one knew that it was the Reading Phils and I can't remember the other team that was in the drop. But people don't know who the teams are. So, you know, just like with the Mudville 9, if you don't know who the teams are, you're not going to hop on it. And I don't think it's going to become trending if people aren't like looking up who these teams are.
I will say it's crazy. Out of all the logos, this Bison's logo. Anyone drops anything Bison's, it's like gone. Once the team store stocks them, though, is when all the natives are finally going to start getting stuff again.
And yeah, and guess what? I'm going to be charging exactly what they are.
And no, it's crazy. Some of these cats charging like $200-$300 for these. With the side patches and stuff, it's like ridiculous.
And
it's more at the point where it should be about the community, not about the thing. Although I do like that companies are starting to stock more stock. No, they're not like limiting stuff to build up the hype.
It sounds like they're doing more like lid style drops where if a lids drop happens, you can go to almost any lids and get it. It might take a couple days. Like if they say they're rolling out this week, don't go on Monday and expect it to be in store. Lids is they're still a multinational company and it's going to take a little bit. It's still logistics at the end of the day. And I think it's going to take some time. You know, you got to pay homage to the truck drivers and all the people that are working throughout these holidays and shit so that, you know, the hats can get to where they're going.
Yeah, supply chain is still a little messed up. For those who don't know, a lot of stuff is hard to get. It's just random stuff too. It's like with the demand and stuff like that. And then shipping's been a nightmare the last 2 months because everybody's been buying stuff online. My buddy who works the post office said work's been a living hell the last like 3 weeks. With Christmas with all the last minute presents people buying.
I know it's more than logistics, but I know you're about to put on your Penguins here. But I do want to comment real fast. I didn't bring up all the stuff from Sweden, but I am wearing I know their name is the Lions, the ZSC Lions. They're a Swedish hockey team from Zurich. I probably said that wrong.
Right.
And they're in the National League on NHL. So if you see it just says National. I don't know if it says Liga but it's pretty cool. L99 hat. Cool guy sent me some chocolate and some other items. I just posted it on Instagram. Glad he watches the show. So I just want to give him a shout out. L, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy what you get and let's keep it moving.
Yeah, hopefully the NHL can get back on its feet and we can start seeing some hockey again. Yeah, I'm sure. I wonder if they're playing in the KHL and everywhere else.
Have you do you pay attention to the women's hockey league?
Nope.
Because I get the feed for that pretty often. It comes up on Twitch, and
What's
I watch it. It's still good hockey. It's it's different because after college they really have nowhere else to go, and they still have a draft. I mean, it's not really a huge draft, but they have like a 6 round draft, and at this point they're still trying to expand it, but almost every team makes the playoffs right now. It's just where you're seated and who you play. So if you're in the last place team, you're going to play the first place team in the first round.
it's like the original NHL when the original six were a thing.
Yeah, I mean, they only have 6 teams right now. I hope they expand it. It's good hockey.
It's always tough with those kind of things with the market there. Robo Penguin, Oho, Yager. I've been after a Yager jersey for a long time, and he played a lot, so there was quite a few of them around. No one wants to sell them. Huge shoot out to Luca from Kings of Throwbacks for selling this gem. This is my first Coho jersey for NHL, and these are really nice. These are light years better than the Adidas, light years better than the Starter, and stuff like that, quality wise.
Starter is not comparable to hockey, I don't think, because Starter never made hockey jerseys.
Yeah, they did.
For who?
Mid 90s, most teams.
CCM and Coho.
The Bruins had Starter at one point
We didn't.
for their retail authentics.
If
Like
you
how
got an actual authentic jersey, it was a Coho CCM.
I've got 2 starters that'll prove you wrong.
And I'm telling you, not every team had that.
Yeah, not every team, but like the Bruins.
When
Fly.
when the Reebok came in and they said they wanted all 30 teams to wear Reebok, that was different. Like that was the same deal that Adidas did and that Nike did with Major League Baseball. But this is completely different. In the 90s, teams could pick whether they wanted CCM jerseys or Coho or maybe a Reebok mix or something. There were other companies making jerseys. It's like having that exclusive right on a basketball jersey. You see it in the Celtics have, what is it, GE?
They used to have, now they have Vistaprint.
Okay, and then the Bucks have Harley Davidson. It's that same concept, and that is such a beautiful jersey. You're throwing me off.
I don't know. I'm just so happy to finally got one, and checks one off the list for Grails. The only other 2 Grails I have left for hockey is a red Detroit Cronwall and a red Detroit Fedorov and a Screaming Eagle Ovi.
Who I was just watching this the other day. I think it was
Phil Esposito on the Bruins too, CCM.
The first Russian player. He played for the Red Wings, won the Stanley Cup. It wasn't Fedorov. It was like Fetrov, like the player that really broke the door open for Russian players to come over here. And
Fedorov was the first guy to defect.
No, it was not Sergei Fedorov.
Okay, we'll have to do some research on that topic.
I was watching the 30 for 30 on the Miracle on Ice, but it's the part that really relates to me is I've played on that rink. I know what it's like, but when they show you where they house the Russians, it's actually the correctional facility outside Lake Placid. And that's really fucked up.
It was probably for their safety, just because they didn't want the Americans. No.
No, that's what they gave them for housing. That
That's
it's just a small town. That town was not equipped for the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, it was probably still better than the accommodations they got in Soviet Russia.
I I I would differ. I would beg to differ.
Yeah, that the Russian national team was part of the Russian army back then.
Yeah, they were known as the Red Army.
Yeah, the Red Army team, and they like ate like soldiers. They were in barracks like soldiers.
I still think that was worse and unreasonable than what the other countries were given. I think it was kind of a power move back then.
Yeah, Reagan.
Judging by what happened right after that, and I know we're not really a politics show, more of a history and sports, but judging by the political climate of what happened right after USA won that gold medal, it's safe to say that it was politically charged to put the Russians in a situation like that. But I would have just liked it to have been, hey, we're better than you at hockey and we'll prove it.
We still did. A bunch of college kids beat a team of future, mostly NHLers.
Well, they weren't NHLers at the time. They were professional KHLers, and they were.
No, but later on, a lot of those guys defected over here, and they were all stars coming through here.
Well, I mean, like one of the first ones, like Fedorov and Kozlov and Kovalchuk and
Hey, for Ovechkin to come over here, and Ovechkin is on pace to break Gretzky's record. I wonder how Canadians feel about that.
and even and I would even go as far to say as Thomas Vanek coming out of Latvia, which is considered almost, I guess, part of the Russian Federation, that he was part of like breaking that barrier for hockey in a completely different country, but still part of the Russian Federation.
Yeah,
And he played for Minnesota Golden Gophers.
All those guys paved the way for guys like Yager and David Krejci, who was from Czechoslovakia, who would have been the Eastern Bloc.
Well, now those two countries have now since separated. Czechoslovakia into Slovakia, and then the Republic of just, so I'm getting kind of fumbled.
Yeah, so cool though, like all these guys got to come over because these guys started it. And now all these greats, like someday soon the Garden will retire Chara's number. Zdeno Chara will probably be hanging up in the rafters of the Garden just because he was our captain for so long. And the only reason he got to come over, because if everything had been the way it was, they wouldn't have come over, and we wouldn't have been able to see all these great players in the greatest league, the NHL.
And I just think that like Minnesota is so lucky to have a player that they currently have right now, Kirill Kaprizov, in that he is the next Crosby Ovechkin player. He encompasses all that energy in a 18, 19-year-old kid. And if he doesn't wear the C, he's going to, because he is an absolute monster. And to go from being the number one player in points by like 50 points 3 years running in the KHL, and he wasn't even 18 years old. Like, give me a fucking break. That kid is great. Like they knew what they were getting.
Yeah, just like Ovechkin. When Ovechkin came over here, he was crazy in the Russian league too.
And that's what I love about it, is even they value their league as like being a very good league, but even they know that they have to come over here to prove themselves to get the Stanley Cup. And when these Russian players wanted to take the Stanley Cup back to Russia, Gary Bettman said no because the crime rate is so high. And I was like, look at New York, look at New Jersey, California. Like, come on, it's everywhere.
The Canadian team back in the day left it at a bus stop on the way back. all the way
Like,
back.
look at the Vince Lombardi trophy with Tom Brady last year. You can't tell me because of crime. Look what these rich assholes do with these trophies.
Yeah, I was up drinking beer out of a Nationals game and dropped it.
or when he where was he? He was at like some soccer game and he held it up for 90 minutes straight. You don't get that kind. He was sleeping with it. Like he wouldn't let anybody take it away from him. I think they had it with him.
Player gets a day with the cup. And he gets to do what he wants with it.
He did. I truly believe Ovechkin did everything he wanted to with the cup. And I mean, like, he ate breakfast out of it, and then he threw his lunch in there, and then he threw his dinner in there, and then he had wings out of it.
It was like the last thing he had left to prove in his resume was he could never get it done in the playoffs. And they made that run. And it just happened to be the Knights, their first year in existence, made that run too. So it was a very eventful Stanley Cup final that year.
Only other team to do that is
I don't know off the top of my head.
the 67 Blues.
Oh, they lost the Bruins, correct? Or no, 67 would have been the Leafs. Because last year they won.
I think it was.
Was last year.
I'm not entirely sure, but I know who lost.
Yeah, I think it'd be the Leafs. I think that was the last time the Leafs won it. To say rebuilding since 67. Although they're starting to get, before the pause, they were starting to get their ish back together. Matthew shaved the pedophile stash and started scoring again.
Austin Matthews, man, he's incredible.
Should have came to Boston. Should have came to Boston. They would have paid. We would have paid him more, and our fans would have been more ecstatic about having him.
He's an incredible story too. I believe I saw that he was raised in a single parent household. His mom was his biggest supporter all the way up to the NHL draft. He was playing for the junior team USA, scoring 4 or 5 goals a game. He was an absolute fucking monster in college. Just to go number 1 in the draft, that's kind of all that you want. So.
No, it's just crazy how these guys, like, even that kid from Detroit, that rookie from Detroit was doing real well. The defenseman there. DeRozzi, something like that.
Yeah, we got a lot of names from overseas we got to practice saying a few times. Not everybody can be a Clutterbuck or a Johnson or a Matthews. You got some Kaprizovs and some blah, 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 and this, that, and the other thing in there.
Then you got Bergeron, you got Pasternak. It's funny because
those aren't too bad.
Everybody calls him Pasternak here. So he teamed up with a grocery store and he made Pasta's Pasta. Pasta, a local like regional chain store called Shaw's Star Market. He's Pasta's Pasta. And the kid who spokes of the Bruins spoke, and they have 88 as number. I'll never forget when I took my sister to her first hockey game. It was a playoff game. And she said, they have that commercial, the cold brew commercial for Dunkin' Donuts, where he's like, make it a large. Make it a large because it's a double penalty. It's a double
minor.
It's a double minor. And she goes, is there an actual Dunkin' Donuts in the penalty box? I go, look down there. See it? No. I had to hide my face a little bit just because it was like so awkward. All the other guys up in the balcony were looking around going, what the fuck is this? That was a wicked cool game there too, because the local kid, Charlie Coyle, tied it and then hit the winner in the third period. And all you could hear at the Garden was Charlie Coyle. And we won the cup. Then we lost the Blues that year.
Still a good story nonetheless. I don't get tired of hearing that. I still think it's funny that, you know, like I made a TikTok of it when I was trying to time it just right because we were down like 6 goals and to the Kraken, and I was like, "Hey, how much time is left?" And the announcer is like, "1 minute remaining in the period." I was like, "Thank God."
My
You
favorite,
just
what time is it at the Sabres game?
6 past whoever's in net. And then I posted on Subban said that it was pure luck that he made that save, like when he knocked it from behind him. And I shared it and I said every save that guy makes is just pure luck.
No, it's just a great sport, and the physicality of it's awesome to watch. They're true warriors. The guys play injured all the time.
Oh yeah.
I'm upset that we lost the Stanley Cup, but after hearing about all the injuries we had, I remember Bergeron was playing with a separated shoulder.
All the guys with there was I think Stammer had a punctured lung this year, and Kucherov had like a broken leg after he just come back from like ACL surgery. Like it was just crazy.
No, it's just all the adrenaline going. The only thing I don't like about this year so far is they haven't been letting them go at it like fights. They've been trying to cut down on that
I think that's a COVID thing. I really do.
because you can tell. Oh, but they're like,
there that used to be what we were taught like growing up, is that when you wanted to make a statement, you'd go after certain somebody. And now it's like you don't get that opportunity. Like,
look, it can change the momentum in a game too. If you're down, and they've been messing with your forwards because they're smaller. Like the Bruins always had smaller forwards, and then Chara would come down and say, "Hey, you're not going to mess with my forwards anymore." The tree stump, they call them.
yeah, I mean, Tyler Myers, he did that for a while. Risto.
Ray Bork was known for doing that for the Bruins too, as an enforcer type player. He used to try to fight Sedin all the time whenever they played the Leafs, and even when he was on the Avalanche, he still went after Sedin. He had like this personal vendetta beef with him.
That's what they say about a few guys in the league. There he's on Colorado right now. He likes to hack people, Kadri. And Nazem Kadri. They say that he likes to just hack people to get them to fight, and then he pummels your ass because you're not ready for it.
That's like, I can't respect players like Sidney Crosby. I get his greatness, and then he's a great player on the ice, but the fact that he won't drop gloves, and
he used to.
He has, but he tries to avoid it. He wouldn't fight a lot of guys.
Yeah, he's no fucking Tom Wilson. Goddamn. Like they still hate each other, but he's not going to fight Tom Wilson. Ryan Reeves is going to fight Tom Wilson. Like, that's not his role. It's never been his role. His role is to go and score or win that face-off when his team's on the penalty kill. He's never been the guy.
If you're the captain on a team, though, and someone goes at you, you got to, like, make this statement.
Yeah, but they always had Letang, and they always had Rust and other guys that the second somebody even touched Crosby, it was like the Tom Brady rule of hockey. Oh no, Crosby's bitching again. Get Letang out there. And then it would be like a fucking line brawl. It was like the 07 playoffs with the Sabres in the Ottawa, where Ray Emery skates over to Ryan Miller and he's like, "You want to go?" And then Andrew Peters comes out and takes on Ray Emery because Ryan wasn't going. That he's a fucking goaltender.
No, there's just so much passion in hockey compared to other sports, and the brotherhood of the game is a big thing too. Like, they stand up for each other. You have each other's backs. That's something you don't see a lot of today, especially like basketball, for example. These guys in or I can't think of the word. They're talking when they're tampering now, like going, where are we gonna go? LeBron's like, it sucks in LA. Who can I bring to another market so I can win something?
I don't agree with tampering. I believe in going to a team and really just sticking it out. You know, you have to.
Special about being a career player on one team like Kobe Bryant. You can't deny that his career was special just because he was always a Laker.
LeBron really ruined the integrity of the NBA.
Started that precedent where it was more about you than about the team and the city. And he did his own city dirty twice. I mean, like, it's just kind of ridiculous. Like, you wouldn't see an NHL player do that. The only way they leave is if they get traded or they get dropped.
I think NHL's even changing too. Like Tavares went to Toronto. He went to his hometown. New York couldn't resign him because he wanted to go home. Like, can you really blame a player wanting to go home?
I don't know. I totally against that. As an Islanders fan, I'd be pissed, but as a hockey fan, it's cool to see a guy play for his hometown squad.
I heard, I know I heard the Sabres were in the running for him too, because Toronto's not that far. Like
on the market for Topperz too. And we offered more money than Toronto did.
But you have a higher tax rate, like
compared to Canada?
Yeah.
Mass does a lot lower tax bracket than Canada.
I'm not sure now, but you have a higher tax rate than we do. We're at like 8%, and I think you said you're at 10.
6.5. 6.25 is the sales tax here.
It might be different in the city. No?
No. There's some like city taxes on stuff, but those players don't live in Boston. Most of them.
But yeah, like a lot of the Sabres, they're out in like Orchard Park and shit, like with all the richy rich, They
want to live out in the suburbs or like something, they drive into the city.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. A couple, like last year when they got knocked out of the playoffs, Marchand got a parking ticket for parking illegally to clear out his locker at the Garden. And that cop. And the funny thing was, he said in the story, he goes, the cop must have been a Islanders fan. And it was funny too because the Bruins fan base paid for the ticket, but instead of taking the money for the ticket, he donated the money to charity.
That's good on him,
No, people like to dog Marchand as a dirty player and everything like that. He's really cleaned up his act in the last few years. He's not the tool he used to be.
He's definitely been a pest, to say the least. And I do enjoy watching his antics. I do.
He will be able to forever say that he changed the NHL rulebook because he licked a player and they had to make a rule about not licking another player.
That was so close to COVID protocol that it could have been a lot worse, I think.
Yeah, if he did something like that nowadays, it would have been like he's gone for the rest of the playoffs.
I think you definitely could have got suspended for the rest of the season, in my opinion. But yeah, man.
When these teams come out each other, like the Bruins and Lightning, it's always an exciting game when those two squads meet up wherever they're going, because there's going to be a brawl.
I just like those high, even if they're not high scoring games, but like those really intense, like when one goal gets scored, it's like, all right, pressure's on, go at it.
Well, even like the game I went to where it was like, I went to the Devils Bruins a couple years ago, and the first goal was in the first 10 seconds of the game. Marchand scored the first goal of the game. The rest of the game, they were just beating the hell out of each other, trying to get the puck out in each other's zones.
Yeah. I mean, that's hockey. I love it.
Yeah. Awesome. The physicality of it and the grit and the win effort. I really like what they've been doing with Swayman before. He's been looking good. Olmark's been looking like a good signing. I like the tandem idea. You play the hot hand.
I don't know. Allmark always just reminded me of a small goalie. He never really had it going.
Neither of them are Tim Thomas, but you gotta take what you can get. They're better than Tuukka Rask at this point in his career.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to whether Dallas wants to get rid of one of their prime pieces of goalie or not, and what their asking price is, because I feel like they're asking a lot right now. And if it comes down to it, I feel like the deadline, Dallas is going to be shelling out a goaltender.
But you can see like all the stuff that's going on and stuff like that, like Tyler the Stars player.
Seguin.
Hmm?
Seguin.
Yeah. He was a former Bruin when we traded him because he fucked his teammate's wife. Nah, Thornton didn't stay with us. It's just crazy like how passionate these guys are. They stand up for their teammates and stuff like that. Crazy. He still gets booed in Boston to this day. When he came out, when I went to that home opener, we let him hear it, and he could tell he was eating it up.
Taylor Hall, when he scored here at the game I went to, it said a Bruins player scored 5-1. They didn't even call it. They were just like, this guy scored. They weren't even giving him the time of day. So I mean,
when I went to that, when me and you went to the team store, that they had tons of Halls left on that clearance rack because nobody wants them. Just nuts.
He just wasn't that good here. He scored 10 goals, and
he's been on so many different teams. Hopefully, the NHL can figure out the COVID situation. Well, we just
all these leagues need to figure out the COVID situation.
Just like everybody, they're just trying to get by, stay healthy, and put the product they can on the field.
So as our closing arguments for today, I'm going to grill you on the Bills game from this week. I'm going to let you give your thoughts on the Bills game first.
We didn't play like we wanted to win. There was a couple no calls on that last drive where the Bills scored, where they had Matt Judon basically in a WWE pose, and they didn't throw a flag on that touchdown, on that thing that set him up on the 17. We lost that game. They had in that last drive, he threw it right to JC Jackson and he dropped it. If he had secured that and we went down the field and scored, different ballgame.
Still,
where the Patriots are, you can't let us get behind because Mac can't do what Brady could do. Or on each drive, he's still not all there, 100% all there. He's probably still one of the best quarterbacks out of this draft.
Oh yeah, I feel like he's a lot better than Zach Wilson, and honestly, I really am fumbling to remember who else came out of this draft. Justin Fields, and Big Dick Nick was playing for the Bears yesterday, and he looked way better than both of them have the entire season.
I'd say it's probably Matt Nagy that was the problem in Chicago, and the protection system. When you have a quarterback that runs like that, you have to build around it. Like you have to commit your offense around that, like how the Ravens have, where if you don't have Lamar, you don't have Huntley, your offense doesn't work because you need a player who can run like that. They need to design them around Field rather than have Field try to be a passer.
Yeah, I don't think Fields was much of a passer. And so my thoughts on the Bills game is we stopped Mac like 2 or 3 times with interceptions and fumbles. And in key moments where he was trying to he really tried to force the ball into situations where he really shouldn't have made the throw in the first place. And I felt like he ended up looking like a real rookie instead of the rookie of the year candidate that he's supposedly been this entire season. And, they've been on this 7-game win streak, and he was very hot coming into the game. And the thing that really threw him off was forcing throws. He looked like he was trying to be Superman. Josh Allen has the same disease. They always want to be Superman, and it's not going to work out for them. And the couple times he ran the ball with Harris, and they have another running back, they looked good, but you can't force the ball. And I've heard that on my radio. I listen to your radio. Like, I like to hear both sides of it. And honestly, he kind of looked, like he got grounded on Sunday a little bit. He has such a high completion percentage, and I didn't expect him to throw those types of passes that were intercepted. And two to the same guy.
Big thing with us was also we were missing some key pieces out with the COVID list. Like the Wise, that defensive lineman, he plays 75% of our defensive snaps. And he plays 100%, he plays 100% of the run blocking snaps.
We didn't have Star Latulele either. He plays all the runs. So we were both lacking our run block. So that was kind of like an offset.
Then we were also lacking at the wide receiver position. And Kendrick Bourne, who came back, wasn't 100% because he just got over having COVID.
Now, I wasn't paying particular attention to who was like the target when these interceptions were thrown, but it was very like unlike him like his character was not the same when he threw those picks. It just didn't seem like him. I think he's going to have a better week next week. The Bills and the Patriots are still both in this. I'm not trying to get you down. I think the Patriots are still very much in this race, and it's going to come down to the wire. But definitely humbled the Patriots with this last game. I know they're going to be hungry.
You guys got to beat the Jets. We got to win out. I'll be rooting hard for Atlanta next week to somehow pull off the upset, division back. But either way, a wild card game, still playoffs. It's still better than being 7-9 and being out of it. And it's fun to finally be in a competitive division. For so long, the AFC East was such a cakewalk for the Patriots, where we just like would walk through our division. It was like they used to joke, it was like having 6 bye weeks.
That's what I said it this year, and I like almost immediately regretted it because it was Jacksonville, Indy, and they were like almost all losses for us. So it was like, what happened?
Well, it could be sneaky because they have Trevor Lawrence. I was like, I wouldn't discount anybody can beat you on any given Sunday. It's like what Urban Meyer said when he got his first NFL loss as a head coach. He said, it's like playing Alabama every week. It's not the same ball game.
And just to get statistically correct with you, the Patriots typically only allow 16 points per game, and the Bills doubled that at 33 points per game, which 32 is double, and they more than put up the amount of points that the Patriots were typically allowing.
I'd be more worried about the weather with you guys playing at home, because you guys rely so much on that passing game. If you guys get some miserable weather in the playoffs, like that game we were at that Monday night, I don't know if your offense can do it.
Yeah.
No matter who depends. You got to adjust the elements. That Bills so long's been a heavy running team, and it's kind of crazy to see them be this like passing squad now. And even the defense isn't the same as it's been like growing up. I remember them always having a tough defense. It was always a big thing when we played Buffalo. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Miami as the last game of the season. We always play poorly in Miami. Miami might be able to sneak their way into the playoffs. They got a cakewalk tonight because the Saints have 22 players out with COVID. And they're starting their quarterback, his first career start, Ian Brooks.
And we really didn't talk about it, but I think Tua is going to have an MVP candidate style game against the Saints tonight. That's about to come on here. So I think we're going to sign off on that note. Thanks for coming around tonight, everybody. Thank you for viewing our show. This is our holiday edition. And as always, TJ,
Peace.
peace, love, and caps.